Hey everyone! In this video you will see the top 5 most overpowered tier 8 tanks. Without further ado, let's go! In 5th place is the American heavy tank, Chrysler K. This tank has extremely strong armor, as for the 8th tier. The frontal projection is just invulnerable to tier 8 tanks. Only 10th and 9th tiers tanks on the premium shells can penetrate Chrysler K. Also, the American has no vulnerabilities, except for the bottom part of the hull. But it is also quite strong. That is, the minimal armor is 254mm. You should agree that this is not bad. The armor of the sides is also very good. But the sides are at right angles, which means that it will be easier for the enemies to penetrate you. Although the rear of the turret allows you to use the side armor more effectively. In general, the armor is amazing. As for mobility, Chrysler K does not disappoint. A very powerful engine allows you to gain maximum speed instantly. But it is not high, and it is only 35 km per hour. And also very good turning speed. You can quickly rotate the hull to make it harder for the enemy to penetrate you. And what do you think? The gun is not bad either. Yes, the damage per shot is low, only 320. But the damage per minute is pretty good, as for a tier 8 heavy tank. Armor penetration of the basic shells is only 198mm. But who cares about this at all? Chrysler K, premium tank, which means that you can use only premium shells every battle. In general, Chrysler K has awesome armor, good mobility, and a good gun. And it has no pronounced cons. In 4th place is the Soviet heavy tank, Object 703 version 2. Let's begin with its armor. Its armor is amazing. The hull is highly armored on the front and sides. Tanks of the 8th tier can't penetrate you without premium shells. If you hide the bottom part of the hull, of course. It doesn't even make sense to shoot at the turret. It is impenetrable and has no vulnerabilities, just like a Chrysler K. Except for 2 small hatches, which are very hard to hit. As for the mobility, everything is expected to be sad. Low engine power and maximum speed. Only 38 km per hour. This tank cannot be called quick or slow. Just an ordinary heavy tank with the normal mobility for a heavy tank. And everything is much more interesting with the gun. More precisely, with guns, because an Object 703 is a double-barreled tank. 2 powerful guns with 390 damage per shot, medium accuracy and awesome stabilization. Yes, the stabilization of double-barreled tanks is very good indeed. Also, it can be very nice to fire 2 guns at once and deal 780 damage to the enemy poor guy. In 3rd place is the British heavy tank, Carnarvon. The armor of this tank is not as strong as that of the previous 2. However, its armor is not the essence, but about that later. But the bottom part is very vulnerable. It is also worth noting the good armor of the turret. Combined with good depression angles, Carnarvon plays confidently on hilly terrain. The engine power and maximum speed are about the same as an Object 703. Playing on this tank, you will not experience difficulties with taking a position. However, to change the flank will be a problem. Now about the gun. Carnarvon has the best gun among all heavy tanks of the 8th tier. Excellent accuracy, stabilization and aiming time. Although the damage per shot is quite low, only 280. But the damage per minute is the best among all heavy tanks of the 8th tier. About 3,200. No other heavy tank has such performance. In 2nd place is the American tank destroyer, Ts-5. In terms of armor, this monster surpasses any tank of the 8th level. Only 2 small vulnerabilities. The hatch and the bottom of the hull. Otherwise, it's almost impossible to penetrate the Ts-5 in the forehead. American paying a piece the mobility for the excellent armor. Just so you understand, maximum speed is only 26 km per hour. Turns pretty tightly, too. As for firepower, the Ts-5 again stands out. Perfect damage per minute, as much as 3,500. Although accuracy and stabilization are not the best, aiming time is very fast. It is comfortable to shoot with this gun. Especially if you play the Ts-5 as a heavy tank. At medium and short distances, not standing on the base like a laggard. If you don't fully understand how to play such tanks, I advise you to watch my video how to play better. If you take your position correctly, playing Ts-5, you can single-handedly hold off an entire line. The only cons is the lack of a turret. Otherwise this tank is great. Honorable mentions. Now I would like to talk about a tank that didn't make the main list because of its ambiguity. Batchat Bourrasque. This French medium tank has everything to take the first place in this list. Everything except the armor. But first things first. Mobility and camouflage like a light tank. This is very cool. The gun is also noteworthy. Magazine for 2 shells with an average damage per shot of 360. Reload time inside the magazine is 2 seconds, and a full magazine is about 20 seconds. This is the gun from a tank destroyer in the body of a light tank. No other tank in the game can boast this. But the lack of armor makes you constantly think when you play this tank. Therefore, beginners and inexperienced players will never be able to fully exploit the potential of a Bourrasque. In first place is the Czech heavy tank, Škoda T56. Let's begin as usual with the armor. It is there, but not particularly strong, as for a heavy tank. The hull can sometimes absorb enemy shells, and sometimes it cannot. It's the same with the turret. The mobility is initially not very good, but by installing a turbocharger you completely solve this problem. And now for the main thing. Its gun. Incredibly powerful gun with a clip capacity for 2 shells with damage per shot is 460. Many heavy tanks of the 9th tier don't have such damage per shot. The reload time inside the magazine is 3.5 seconds. Full reload time is about 23 seconds. The damage per minute of the Škoda T56 is not very high, but it will not stop you from overpowering. Accuracy and aiming time are not very good either, but when playing at close range it is not very noticeable. The main thing is that the tank has time to fully aim between shots. In general, Škoda T56 has good armor, not bad mobility, and an incredibly powerful gun. And will suit both beginners and experienced players. I think you noticed that 4 of the 5 tanks on the list are premium tanks. I hate to realize that premium tanks are currently mostly better than the researching vehicles. I hope the developers fix this situation. Well, thank you for watching this video to the end. I hope you found it useful. It's time to say goodbye. Good luck to everyone. And remember, don't play World of Tanks.